What's good, everybody out there on YouTube? This is your man Shattuck Stick dropping some hot Faraga on this mic. We're talking about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero today. No face cam, but there is gameplay. I want to thank you guys first for, helping me hit 100 subscribers. Didn't think I'd hit it that fast. I got more content coming. Sorry about the long wait. Life has been lifing. That's the only way to explain it. But let's, delve into my thoughts about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I'm going to start this video off with this. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, I think, is what anime games needed in general. To be honest, I think the last truly, well put together, 100% put together anime game that I sat down and played all the way through was probably Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. Now, this isn't to disregard any other games that came after it, like Dragon Ball FighterZ or even Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I love Dragon Ball FighterZ. I felt like it was a bit overpriced for what it was at launch, and I just can't speak on Dragon Ball Z Kakarot because I haven't sat down to actually really play it. I think I got it through PlayStation Plus one month. I played about 20 minutes of it, and then I said, I don't have the time for this, but I like the direction, if that makes any type of sense. I actually just recently bought it the day of this recording so that I can actually go back and make a video on it. So subscribe if you would like to see that. But what I mean by this is something that really, captures the essence of the anime series. It's, representing the games more so than anything. Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 3, while the gameplay was really simple, it was fun and addictive. It adapted the story a lot better than damn near anything else at the time. Dare I even say what the anime was doing, because I think it was stuck in filler land at the time. And on top of that, there was just a wealth of content. But that game came out basically 10 years ago. It's been a decade since we've had a game, of that stature and magnitude with that level of polish and quality. And then on top of that, it's been over a decade since we've gotten, the next proper step in the Budokai Tenkaichi series. This isn't to say that games like Raging Blast 1 and 2 were not good. I actually think both of those games are phenomenal. But I think they missed the point of what the franchise was trying to do. And I think that is really just giving Dragon Ball fans the ultimate Dragon Ball experience in every single way possible. But to break this down, I think I need to talk about what Dragon Ball Sparking Zero does well and what it does bad. I'm going to start off with the negatives first because there's not a ton, but I do think some of them detract enough from the experience for it to not be the perfect anime game. Though I do believe it's probably the best anime game we've ever gotten. I think the first thing, which doesn't seem that big, is the way the character select screen is. I actually like that you can see the 3D character models of the characters while you're selecting them. I just think it's too big of a list and the way you have to navigate it is quite annoying, especially when you're in private lobbies with friends. It just makes it a whole lot harder for DP battles to get started up or for you to choose the proper team. And talking about online, I also feel like this game should have rollback. In all honesty, the netcode for a delay-based fighting game is not, horrible. But my issue is that when the connection is bad, it's really, really bad. It's unplayable bad. And I think that's the issue I have with it. When you're playing people who are playing on Wi-Fi, they're coming home from work, their router's in the living room, their, PlayStation 5 is probably in the bedroom, and they probably have 3 kids using up the Wi-Fi to play Fortnite and Roblox, you're just gonna have a bad time. But I will say, when 2 people with good connection play, it's actually fairly enjoyable. And that's not something you always see with fighting games. The bar's in hell, and it did pass it, but, not by much. I'd also like to see them implement crossplay. I just think in the modern day and age in gaming, not having crossplay in a multiplayer game that is multi-platform is just totally unacceptable. There's just completely no reason for any AAA publisher or developer to not implement crossplay into their multiplayer game. I'm not asking for Bamco to make this a forever game like Fortnite, but I'd really like to play with my friends who have the game on PC and Xbox. I bought the game on PlayStation 5 because that's where the majority of my friends are, but that's not where everybody is. One of my friends has an Xbox Series S because his PC died. And his PC was the main way he played games. He didn't have the money. He bought an Xbox Series S. It was for like $200, and that's how he primarily plays his games. A multitude of my friends, buy all their new AAA games on PC. They've basically ditched consoles for anything that isn't exclusive. So it's kind of frustrating when people are like, "Oh, what are you playing on?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm on PS5," and they're like, "Oh, I'm on PC." Or I'm like, I'm on PS5, and they're like, oh, I'm on Xbox. It's just frustrating. I don't have this issue with games like Fortnite, like a Call of Duty, like a XDefiant, etc., etc. Why are we having that here? Other fighting games have crossplay. I think most notably Street Fighter 6, so why does this game not have it? We can do better. And the last, gripe I have is with how they do story mode. I like the story mode in this game, but I feel like it is sorely lacking. And what I mean by that is it's a modern game that feels like it's out of the PS2 era in the way it handles its cutscenes. It's a lot of screenshots, and they have a bunch of flashy animations to make sure you have some type of motion on the screen, but it's like jingling keys in front of a baby. And I feel like it's kind of insulting to the intelligence of players. In all honesty, I understand why it's like this, but I feel like even for some of the more key moments, they don't do a good job of actually executing like any of the cutscene animations and stuff. The game has mocap, which I think is actually pretty cool in all honesty for an anime game, and I wish they would have done more cutscenes with mocap so that they could, cut down on, the budget if they needed to for animation time and stuff. Especially considering a lot of these screenshot cutscenes are partly animated. So the animation will start and then it'll pause on a frame and then it will start up the animation again slightly, but like half a second later to go to the, I don't know. It's kind of stupid. And all honesty, I wish they hadn't done it like this. I know why they did it like this, and that's mostly because they wanted to add flair to the game, because admittedly, there's a lot of story content that they cover from different perspectives and with a lot of what ifs. So that's why they do it like that. And I also have one more issue with Sparking Zero, and that's kind of the way button presses and inputs register. Sometimes it just feels like the game eats your inputs. So sometimes, like, especially after a transformation or charging or going sparking, or if the enemy charges up and transforms, it feels like the game just doesn't register that, so your inputs aren't registered no matter how much you're mashing or pressing the buttons to try to get things to happen. Especially online. This happens offline also, but especially online. And it just sometimes feels like the special buttons don't work. Like you'll hit R2, hold it or whatever, and then you'll press the button, but despite that, it may just go ahead and start doing a rush combo or something like that. It just feels really inconsistent at a lot of points and times. But since we're talking about gameplay, I need to just go ahead and talk about the positives. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is probably one of the best, like literally top 3 arena fighters I've ever played. The gameplay is quick and decisive. They've added some new defensive options that really make the gameplay feel a lot smoother and a lot more natural to play. There's a lot of counterplay in this game, which I really wasn't expecting when I went into it. And if you've ever played Dragon Ball games before, the games basically work off of the notion that the more powerful a character is, the more broken it is. But they also work off of the function that if you're good enough at the game, it doesn't really matter who you're using. And that's the same here. When I first started playing the game, I was pushing the base Cabba agenda. I was running around beating Gogeta's, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta specifically. I mean, most of them Gogetas in general, but that specifically Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, just to let you guys know. I had to push the agenda, and I was whooping their ass. A lot of RQs, not the game's fault itself, just the player base's fault, but still, it was a fun time. I also feel like the games still have that fast pace that, Budokai Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3 were known for, while implementing some stuff from Raging Blast that makes it really, really fun. There's a lot of variety in the characters because they've updated move lists, which is pretty cool. A lot less full power energy waves here. And on top of that, it feels like they really kind of sat down with every character and every transformation and tried to make them even just a little bit different from the last one. Like every Goku Super Saiyan variant is different. Every Vegeta Super Saiyan variant is different. And this is what I really appreciate about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. On top of that, the game looks phenomenal. Like, as far as a 3D Dragon Ball game goes, it's the best looking one. Now, if we're excluding, the story cutscenes, there's nothing really that matches it in motion at a gameplay level except for Dragon Ball FighterZ. But that's because Dragon Ball FighterZ has the benefit of being 2D. So it's able to use decimated animation in a way to make it actually look like an anime. But I think Dragon Ball Sparking Zero does something that I think a lot more games should do, and it kind of takes the Naruto Storm approach. It's using the fact that the game is 3D to its advantage. They throw a bunch of nice particle effects out. On top of that, there's very smooth anti-aliasing. And while there is some TAA breakup here and there, there's not much. So overall, you just get a clean overall image. It just looks so nice. The colors pop on whatever screen you're looking at the game on, and the character models are as faithful as they can get given the way the game looks and plays. Could they have done better on some models? Team Goku? Yes. But overall, I think they did a phenomenal job. And then when we look at the story mode, despite the issues I have, it's actually fairly challenging, and the game doesn't let up at all, even at the beginning. And that's what I really like about it. It feels like an old school Dragon Ball game. It actually kind of takes the Budokai 1 approach, if that makes any sense, to telling its story. So the first time you play the game through, you're playing through Goku's story. You're playing from Goku's viewpoint. And a lot of people complained about cut content, and I'm like, bro, if you understand Dragon Ball, some of this stuff, half of the time he's either dead or training while everybody else is doing shit. And I don't think people realize that. And they give you so many different viewpoints to experience the story from that. In all honesty, I'm surprised that the game even covered Dragon Ball Super. Now, I will say I wish they covered, the Universe 6 versus 7 tournament and some other stuff in Super. But overall, I was very, very pleased. And I think they did a phenomenal job and ultimately capturing what people wanted in a Dragon Ball game. A lot of these what ifs are really fun, and I don't want to spoil them because some of them are actually really, really good. But if you sit down and play it for yourself, I'm pretty sure you're in for a fun ride. But I don't know, what do you guys think about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? In all honesty, I think it's basically one of the greatest anime games, if not the greatest anime game ever made. And maybe that's recency bias. But I think it's what anime games needed at the bare minimum. A high quality experience that everybody could enjoy, that raises the bar and standard for anime games again. Like I said, Dragon Ball FighterZ I think is a solid, good experience, but I think at launch it shouldn't have been $60. It was more like a $40 experience. I'm not going to speak too much on Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, but from what I know, it's actually a pretty solid experience. I just got to sit down and play it. But hopefully other anime series follow suit in what Dragon Ball Sparking Zero does. I don't need them to be another arena fighter, but I just need them to be high quality. Bleach Rebirth of Souls is coming out soon, and that game looks phenomenal. And it actually is doing a lot of the things that I think, Sparking Zero is doing, and it's trying to achieve a high bar of quality and please the fans, and ultimately make the best Bleach experience. Maybe I pick the game up, maybe I don't. I'll see when it comes out, and I'll give you guys my opinion on it if I decide to buy it. But hey guys, this has been your man ShaDixStick. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Share this video out with your friends. Remember, Hot Faraga turns to Cold Blizzaga. Chill out with some of my other videos. And follow your boy on Twitter. Links, as always, to all my socials are down below. Join the Discord. We've been chatting about Sonic Shadow Generations and how they accidentally made the best 3D Sonic game. But with that out of the way, peace and have a good one.